Well, hey everybody, welcome back. As you can see, ExactRail has re-released the 64-foot Trin Cool Reefer. This is a Phase 3 HO scale refrigerator car that I first reviewed, I believe, back in 2011. And they're re-releasing these. They were in high demand. You still see them going on auction sites and stuff for way over MSRP. So they are back in stock at ExactRail's website. So let's take a look at what you get in the box and do a re-review from 2011 starting now. Alright, they're all the same. They all have a patch out and renumbered up higher where graffiti artists can't reach them. So I'll just unbox one. You can use your imagination for the road numbers. There's a run of 12 as this is with the patch, which is modified. And then there's as delivered from the 2005, I believe, where the road number is still at the bottom, and they just modified these because they're essentially blank slates for graffiti artists. So they wanted to get it kind of out of reach to where the road reporting marks were still present. So it's out of the box, that simple. I love that. I'm fine with no paperwork on a piece of rolling stock. It makes it so much easier to box and unbox large unit trains, which these do run in unit trains. So let's take a closer look. Okay, we're going to start down on this end here and take a look at where most of the detail resides. And out of a whole pack of 100 skewers, I've lost every one of them. But here on this end, you've got the refrigerator unit, which is the Phase 3 version of this car. There's a etched metal walkway, as you can see there, and a little hard to see, but they are present. This is probably a better angle. I really like this version of the Trin Cool Reefer because there's the little safety chains intact. Now on these cars, they're usually dangling down, but you know, as a modeler, you have the option just to pull that off or disconnect it if you want. At least it's there if you want it in place. There's also very finely detailed handrails, which is hard to get the right angle on to see the gap in between, but right there you can just see how finely detailed those are as you see light pass and a little bit of cork roadbed pass in between the handrails there. The step ladder for crew access is right here as well. And back to the end, there is a KD coupler and a coupler cut lever. There's a lot of printed detail on the end too. And if you're blown up into 1080p HD, you may be able to read that because it is legible. Like I can read that says diesel fuel right under there. Couple wooden panels there, and even on this side it's talking about the purge valve with an arrow pointed there. A little safety striping for the in-car detail there as well. Really nicely detailed cars, and they've used a couple of different printing colors and techniques on the side here. The first thing is the patch out, a little whiter than the rest of the car. And this, as I mentioned before, is an anti-graffiti measure. These are blank slates to graffiti artists, and they put the ARM in and the road number up here so that it's not as accessible to graffiti artists. You know, they'll still bust out ladders and stuff in the middle of the night in yards, but it makes it a little more difficult. These cars are white because they're refrigerator units, so you want every possibility of keeping the item cool. You've got the refrigerator unit itself keeping the item cool, but you also have things like painting the whole car white to reflect that sunlight, that beating sun, to help keep the items inside cool. They have all sorts of cooled goods inside, and they carry a number of different things, produce and such, and they need to keep it cool. On the side, FRA mandated striping here. It's not actually reflective, but it is yellow to indicate and represent the FRA mandated striping. More wood paneling here, and separately applied details on the actual door that includes the latches here a whole bunch of warning labels and a separately applied tract for the door to open and slide. That tract is along the bottom, and the best way to see that in a three-dimensional light is with this angle here. And while we're at the bottom, let's just take a look at the bottom detail. There's air reservoirs, brake line rigging, and then you have these really nice trucks which have the reporting marks on the truck printed. You can see that at an angle there on your left, and it's a little hard to see from this angle, but there is roller bearing caps that rotate with the truck that are blue. I'm just going to go along the side here and show you really up close the detail of the door as well. You see all that print and the door latch, which is in the closed position, and it's got a seal indicator with an arrow there as well. So just immaculately detailed cars. I remember back when I first reviewed these, people were really talking about the pros and cons, and there's a lot of people that prefer this version of the car. Union Pacific Building America is nice and pad printed on the side there, along with all the weight limits and specifications of the car. There's step ladders, crew access ladders on the side of the car that's a mix of a molded part and separately applied parts, it appears. And more of that FRA safety striping and a lot of warning labels and information there as well. There's a little action going on this side of the car too. You've got your brake wheel, brake chain going down into the cross platform that's etched metal, it appears, and KD couplers and a coupler cut lever there, and separately applied molding there for the ladders. Gonna zoom out. There's a lot of end car information pad printed as well. Again, legible. Excess height car, even the smaller stuff is legible. So ARMN and the road numbers on the ends as well. And I've looked at several of these cars and they all have accurate numbers. Sometimes you get little mistakes where the road number on one car is printed on the end of another car, and that is not the case. They've got an excellent quality control system in place with ExactRail, because I haven't found any issues here. A little bit of differences on this side of the car. You see this little ladder rung on this side is opposite of the other, but mostly the same details. These cars are going to look the same going either direction basically. And there's some other molded in details as well. I believe this is a door stop here and some other molded details along the side. So we'll take a look at the other side of the refrigerator unit end. And then let's just go ahead and check out some of the other specs on this car. Let's check out the car length. I think I'll just start here at 10, or it's a little more easy to do some math. Coupler end to coupler end is about 10.5 inches, but car body length is what matters here. So I'm going to start at the edge platforms, and it's actually 9 3/4 inches. So we'll take that and compare it to the NMRA weight requirements. To be NMRA compliant, this should weigh around 5.8 ounces. We'll see here. Oh, 5.7. So I'm definitely going to call this NMRA compliant. It's very, very close. And it's 162 grams for anybody that wants the grams of that. So NMRA compliant on weight. I think I have a decent view of the coupler height here. Looks dead on to me on that end. And on this end, it appears dead on as well. You be the judge, but I'm going to call that compliant. Alright, we'll take a look at the wheel sets. That's kind of the last NMRA test. And those are all in gauge. So I like to run the car back and forth, and it seems to be running pretty smoothly, and so it will not drag on your layout. You'll be able to run these without any problems. Another check is body wobble, and I'm moving that back and forth like you'd go over some uneven track, and the body does not wobble. So it's a very, very well executed piece of rolling stock. Let's wrap up the review. Well, there you have the ExactRail Phase 3 Trin-Cool 64-foot refrigerator car or reefer car. Again, there's two versions, as delivered and patched, to help with anti-graffiti, and we've got the anti-graffiti versions. Gonna have all 12 here. I have 10 to run right now, and then there's another 12 of the other version, the as delivered. But overall, I mean, I could not find one NMRA piece that wasn't compliant, so this is a fully NMRA compliant piece of rolling stock. I've even put a couple others to the test, and they all seem well. Just a well-executed QC, you know, great dedication from the team at ExactRail to deliver basically a very flawless and NMRA compliance standards model. You know, you guys can pick it apart with prototype photos. I don't really do that here, but I did want to show you guys what you get. This is probably the most sound piece of rolling stock I've reviewed in a while, where I couldn't really find any dings from a lot of my tests that I do right here on camera for you. So, you know, dedicated team from ExactRail, like Chris Brumley, he's a dedicated modeler and does some great work. And then having people like that work at any manufacturer, you're going to have usually some really nice products. So with that said, guys, I'll leave you with a run by. Yeah, you heard me right. I'll be doing a run by because my layout is now operational. So I'll show you a couple different areas of my layout, mostly unfinished, but we're going to run 10 of these. So let's do that next.